Iron Man 2 was a movie with great potential. It had a lot of changes due to the studio meddling with the story, so I want to look at Iron Man 1, Demon in a Bottle, the comic that inspired the sequel film, and the deleted scenes to take the best elements from them and create a solid rewrite. In Iron Man 1, Tony's character arc has him going from believing that it's okay to sell weapons to believing that selling weapons is wrong and dangerous. Instead, he becomes a weapon that can be used for justice. Having the weapons he sold be used against him is what changes his belief. In Demon in a Bottle, Tony's character arc has him believing that he should cope with his stress by drinking alone, and then believing that he should abandon alcohol and rely on his friends for support. In the comic story, Tony's armor is malfunctioning and causes him to make mistakes. This is because of Justin Hammer's meddling, but wouldn't it be more interesting if it was due to Tony's drunkenness? Similar to the first movie, Tony's catalyst for changing would be the result of his own mistakes. In the movie, palladium from the arc reactor is killing Tony, and that's what causes him to drink a lot. I'm not a big fan of this. First is that alcoholism from stress sounds much more sympathetic than a unique situation that's killing him. Second is that the way he solves the problem by creating a new element feels way too convenient. Ivan Vanko was Tony's foil in the movie. Anton Vanko and Howard Stark were business partners that built the arc reactor together, but when Anton sold their tech to the black market, Howard had him deported. Stark rose to fame and riches, while Vanko became poor and penniless. Now, his son Ivan wants to get revenge against Howard's son, Tony. His goal was initially to kill Tony, but Hammer taught him to go after his reputation, his legacy. Legacy was also something that was brought up in the movie. What kind of long-lasting impacts do you leave on others? Most people view Howard's legacy as a great futurist. Ivan views Howard's legacy as a traitor who ruined the Vanko's legacy. Tony inherits Howard's alcoholism throughout the movie. This was a good idea that could be fully realized by having Tony accept the good parts of Howard's legacy and fix the bad parts. By the end of the movie, he continues to be a futurist that helps the world become a better place, but he loses the alcohol and fixes the Vanko legacy that his father ruined. This could be done by creating some sort of business opportunity or foundation under the Vanko name. In the first Iron Man, there was a Chekhov's gun in the final battle. In Act 2, Tony learned of the icing problem that affected his Mark II, so he made Mark III that could adapt to it. In his final fight against Ironmonger, Tony takes advantage of Stan using an older model that hasn't adapted to icing. In the deleted scenes of the second Iron Man, Tony can be seen tossing a nanoball to Pepper and it wraps around her hand. In the climactic deleted scene, when Pepper is held hostage by Whiplash, the latter forces Tony to remove his suit, allowing him to be strangled with a whip. Pepper throws the nanoball to Tony and uses it to deactivate the whip, re-equip his suit, and fly away with Pepper as War Machine blows up Whiplash with the ex-wife. I like this ending better than the beam clash we got. Based on all of these details, here's what the story would look like. I won't get into the specific details unless they're necessary. In Act 1, Ivan and Anton's first scene is the same. It is established that Tony is stressed out from being a hero and is turning to the bottle. The scene where the theme is stated will be Pepper telling him to stop drinking, but she doesn't know why he's drinking yet. The nanoball scene will also be here. Rhodey will also be established as an ally that Tony can rely on, but chooses not to. He refuses to give him an armored suit. The inciting incident will be Tony's suit malfunctioning in a critical way. Maybe he falls mid-flight like in the comic. Initially, he'll think that it's a problem with his suit, but he'll learn that it's because of his drinking. In Act 2, Hammer and Vanko work together to sabotage Tony's image, and the Iron Man malfunctions make it worse. Vanko also publicly reveals that Howard was a thief who stole from Anton's work. This damages the Stark name. Tony continues to make public blunders in his fights against Whiplash, and Hammer proves that Iron Man has been making these mistakes because he's drunk. This problem climaxes when he accidentally kills a senator or ambassador, like in the comic. This time, it was an actual malfunction achieved by Hammer's hacking, but because the other times were actually Tony's fault, everyone believes that Iron Man is at fault, damaging the Stark reputation. This is the all is lost moment, the false defeat at the end of Act 2. It's the wake-up call Tony needs. He reveals to Pepper that he's been drinking to cope with the stress, and she tells him that he doesn't need to go through this alone. He abandons the bottle and gives Rhodey his War Machine suit, externalizing his reliance on friends. He also gives Pepper the nanoball. In Act 3, Iron Man and War Machine fight against Whiplash and Hammer. In the climax, Tony uses the nanoball and Rhodey uses the ex-wife to defeat Vanko. Tony's name is cleared for the murder, and he also sets up a Vanko Foundation to restore the Vanko name that Howard sullied. All of the other details like the race, parties, government interference, Nick Fury, Black Widow, and Hammer Expo can be kept or discarded. That's not the important part. What's important is Tony's arc with alcohol, how it's externalized with Pepper and Rhodey, how Vanko and Hammer attack Stark's legacy, and how Tony restores the Stark name.